Hey everyone, welcome to the BTF podcast. We have a very special guest. We have several guests today joining us. I'm also joined by my co-host AJ. Hey AJ, what's going on?
Oh, hi.
AJ up in the stratosphere because
I do
AJ
things.
doesn't use cams, so he's always that mystery voice from the beyond. And then we have the band Bad Trauma, which I'm excited to have you guys on, man. I've been jamming. The two that I've heard, I really love. I know you guys kind of might have one coming out sometime soon that we can jump to as well as a lyrics video coming out for one that we already have. But we'll get into all that. Let's go around the horn here. Introduce yourselves. We'll start with Brent. Brent, your lead singer.
Lead singer, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, I come from Tampa, Florida. Lived here my whole life. I've been in the same circles as these guys.
Yeah.
I played in a band still have a band. It's on the back burner right now for Bad Trauma. It's called Polar Summer.
Okay.
And I played a couple of shows with these guys, and we hung out, talked about boxing. I think it was the Floyd Mayweather match one time, a couple of years back, and we all just kind of linked up and started writing some songs about 8 months ago, and it's been going really well.
Nice. It's kind of an organic coming together. You guys just found each other, or was it like something that brought you guys together? Did you hear about the other guys at one point, see them at a show somewhere?
Yeah. We're probably all under J-Rock's umbrella. He's a local promoter.
Okay.
He also has a radio station. And I think we played the Rock Solid Pressure Showcase together, and he just kind of matched us up because we were all in similar styles. So we've always kind of crossed paths and hung out a little bit.
Nice. I've always wondered about that. Guys who didn't really know them like each other that well beforehand, but we're in the same circles, and how that kind of develops into a band. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Josh?
What's up?
Wait, Brandon.
So, yeah, it's okay.
John.
Whatever you want to call it.
Well, I brought up John's video, but it's blocked behind my logo, so I was like... All right,
John, go.
Yeah, John, go.
Yeah. I've been around these guys for a minute. I guess to piggyback on Brent, there was a specific moment because Brandon and I come from a band called Aegea, that's kind of defunct, but we were playing shows, and actually the first time we saw Brent live, he was opening up for 10 years, and nice. I remember, Brandon and I had like rushed to the front of the stage, and we were kind of in the process of promoting the show, but as soon as Brent started singing, we immediately stopped what we were talking about. And I knew at that moment, I was like, and it would be a while from then, but I knew at the moment I looked at Brent, I was like, yo, like if he becomes available at some point, like, yeah, that's the guy we got to be riding with. Like, that's the dude. Yeah. And of course, it took like another, I don't know, 3 years probably after that. We were going down our own paths. Aegea had, kind of gone on a hiatus, and then Brent said, "Hey, dude, I got a batch of demos. I really dig your guitar playing. What do you think?" And I heard his voice on these demos, and immediately knew, okay, like this is the group. The only thing I was nervous about at the time is that I knew that Brent had, a drummer that he typically worked with. Right. But for me, I'm the kind of guy like I really only like to work with one drummer for all of my stuff. Huh. Just a specific feel for me, with writing and live. And I knew I wanted Brandon, to be on the kit. And that was the only thing I was nervous about. So, Brent sent over those demos. I knew he had just gold. He had the pipes, and I knew I could add something to the table. And I knew, of course, Brandon coming along, with his spine breaking beats, we were going to have something, cool. Because immediately upon thinking of us getting together, I immediately just got excited, just thinking about the things that we can do, the kind of music we can make. Yeah. And it's been great. It's been great so far. But I mean, just being around each other in the scene gave us, I think, a little more of a push to get.
Yeah, makes sense. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, not Josh. Josh is your real name. You go by Brandon.
My real name is Dragon Slayer.
Dragon
No,
Slayer.
exactly. No, so yeah, I mean, same thing the other two guys have been saying, man. You know, I will add to something though, because it's pretty funny. So, you know, like everybody was saying, you know, John and I were already years into Aegea, like 4 or 5 years into this band, and we were pushing really hard for that group. And after so many members changing and certain guys just straight up leaving and moving away and all these other things, John and I got to a point where we're like, all right, man, no more of this band shit. We're gonna be the next Daft Punk. We're gonna do a 2-piece, man.
Nice.
I don't care who calls us. We're doing a 2-piece. And then like a week later, John calls me and goes, bro, I'm not gonna lie. You remember Brent? And I'm like, Brent, the guy from Polar Summer? He's like, yeah, bro. He just sent me some demos. You got to hear these demos, bro. You got to hear these demos. And he sends me the demos, and I'm like, oh no, like they're too good. Like we got to call them back. We got to call them back, man. We got to get on this boat. So that was kind of like it happened very quickly, man. And you know, Brent already had kind of the meat and potatoes there.
Yeah.
And just, you know, you just needed a team, just needed a bunch of guys to come in and bring it to life and breathe some air into it.
Right.
And so we just started tracking them and writing new material and shooting videos, and then here we are.
Did you keep the receipt for the motorcycle helmets to take them back? At least get your money back.
See, that's the thing, man. Once they break, you can't return them.
Oh
so.
man, because I got already spray painted them and put some neons on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You know, it's kind of funny too, Ollie, the
Uh-huh.
reactions from John and Brandon about the band,
Yeah.
like seeing Brent for the first time. That was me when I stumbled upon the band's video.
Yeah.
I was like, everything has been sounding the same for years now, and then boom, Bad Trauma come out, and I'm like, who the hell are these people?
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
bro.
awesome.
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely. Where'd the name come from? Was it something that was already one of you guys had that in your pocket somewhere, or did you come up with it as a team?
Yeah, Brent had this one.
Yeah, I have a tendency to make lists, kind of a freak for lists, and I made probably 1,000 words and just started moving them around, and then just put Bad Trauma together. And I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool.
Nice. Is that something you incorporate into your writing as well?
Yeah, it's a lot of like musical chairs with, you know, if it's lyrics, it's vowels. If it's, you know, guitars or drums or whatever, it's just an eighth note and moving it over until it sounds cool.
Right. So it lines up.
Yeah.
Man, I had a thought. Give me a second. So, and also this, we can edit this to clean it up as well. I just lost it. All right, here it goes. Musical inspiration. So, do you guys find that you kind of fall into the same inspirations, like you were listening to the same type of bands that got you into the style of music, or is there a style that you kind of associate with that you use as an inspiration for your own writing when you're coming up with your own jams?
Right. So it's funny, is like I knew me and John had the same inspirations, because we talked about like August Burns Red and Miss Man and all that. And then Brandon's like, dude, you need to check out this band Soilwork. And I didn't know you know, your preferences, Brandon, but when he showed me that, I was like, oh, we're gonna be great, because that's like right up my alley. So we all have very, very similar tastes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Soilwork is one of those ones you would point out as something you guys key in, as far as you guys all like that sound. Has that influenced your sound? Have you guys evolved, or is this a sound that you carried into the band to begin with as a group? I guess we'll go to John on that one. Did you guys, was bringing Brent in, was he already in line with the kind of music that you guys were making, or did you kind of evolve together?
Both. So it's
Both.
definitely both. We kind of both had like unique styles in our own right, on the instruments, you know, his voice and my guitar. And it just, I think we both knew we can complement each other really well.
Mhm.
And then once we actually started writing together, reworking even some of the demos he had, we realized that our writing together was a lot more powerful than it was separate, you know, kind of the old kind of Superman thing for the Justice League.
Yeah.
But it was very much that vibe to where we realized, oh wow, we write the same, that we wanted the same out of the parts. We were looking for the same ear
Yeah.
candy, post-production elements, stuff like that. You know, I mean, for myself, when I was really forming like my early bands, and the stuff that really formed me as a guitar player was a lot of the new wave of American heavy metal stuff. You know, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that Headbangers Ball 2 compilation.
Yeah.
That was like a straight up life changer for me, because literally every band on there, I think I still listen to this day. I mean, it was Killswitch, God Forbid, Lamb of God, Hatebreed, Him. You know, I mean, just the ones that we would say now are like classics of the genre. And I immediately saw that Brent had this flavor from there, because I also was like big into, like, of course, the Linkin Park and everything else. Brent was just kind of like right on par with that. So when we all got together, it was kind of like that the next evolution for all of our writing. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Brandon, what were your inspirations? Like, what drove you to be a drummer? And then if you were to say, like, you're stylistically, where do you fall? With like recognizable, like, you know, big recognizable drummers and big bands.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm a little bit of a black sheep with the other guys, just because you know, both my parents were in touring bands when I was growing up. So I was getting fed literally everything, jazz, funk. So I come from a really weird, but personally, I was always really inspired by like Thomas Hawk from Meshuggah. Of course, like the super classic ones, you know, like Neil Peart. You know, so my background in drumming is I've always been interested in guys who can play very technically, but they're not doing it in a way where it's like, oh, the entire show is about the drums.
Right.
You know, I like the drums to be very driving, very primitive, but very technical. Very technical in terms of, you know, can you know, like one of my trademark things that I always kind of find myself doing when I'm tracking or I'm writing with the guys is I'm always like, man, I can't wait for other drummers to hear this and try to figure this out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like one of my favorite little things. But so yeah, I mean, in terms of the whole group though, I kind of, to riff on what John was saying, is we all have very similar backgrounds in terms of what we like to listen to and what we were raised on and what we play with. But what really made Bad Trauma unique was the triangle that it created when you brought Brent's vocal style and influences with John's guitar style and my drum style. It just created this kind of raw sound that I've never been a part of before. So I was like super into that. I was super excited about that.
Yeah.
It's like alchemy. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you just come across, sometimes you just add the right shit and you're like, holy crap, bro, we just made fucking gold. Like,
right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Now, forming Bad Trauma, bringing Brent in, Brent, you already had your set of lyrics and songs kind of there, right? And you fleshed them out with the rest of the guys when you joined up with John and Brandon. So that, like, did you have all your lyrics down? Your songs were all set, or did you guys write some songs together? And were there any changes that came from stuff that you wrote lyrically?
Yeah, absolutely. Just about 60% was there.
Yeah.
And then a couple other stems and seeds or whatnot. But we have a song coming out pretty soon here, probably in a month or two, called 33077. And that is John's like voodoo guitar shit, man. I've never heard anything like it. It's got these weird fucking notes, man. It's awesome. But we've written, you know, no one's listening. That's the first song that we wrote together. You know, we sat down, we had a Zoom call just like this, and we wrote down the lyrics. You know, we kind of troubleshooted the undertones and subtext and all that. And you know, these guys are just such high quality writers. Like, working with them, I really haven't had a writing partner before, and it's been such a pleasure because these guys are just like, John's production skills are unreal. Like, we were able to complete like a whole production thing in like 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
It's just very strong workflows. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, 60% was there. There was some stems and seeds that you know, we needed to work out. A couple things that I sent to John, like the song called Today, that had just this weird what is that, like a polyrhythm or something going on there, and he just kind of made it palatable for guitar players. So it was easier to like write over that.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely kind of taken it's this natural progression. Like everybody has their tastes kind of going into it, and like one of my main inspirations, not necessarily like the music, I don't listen to every day, but like the Doors and how they had various elements from like Spanish flamenco to like the keyboardist was this thing, and they're all like totally different genres, like Brandon was saying, and like sometimes you just get the right combination that makes something. This project's been a lot of fun because it's been interesting. You're just like seeing Brandon play drums in the studio and just kind of work out these rhythms and like kind of a drummer's perspective while he's playing, which is different from like writing it through like MIDI or something. It's really cool process to see unfold.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess this is, you guys are still relatively new. Like, I mean, you've been together for a little while, but when did Bad Trauma become Bad Trauma? John, let's go to John. Trying to get my diversity, get everybody around, you know.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I think, like, I mean, I considered us Bad Trauma like once we kind of all committed to this thing. So you know, let's say like a year, you know, or just maybe a month over a year. And that's what's been crazy, is that in the short amount of time, because we're so kind of mentally aligned, things kind of tend to steamroll a lot quicker, since we're not having to, you know, fight the other person for, you know, conflicting opinions, whatever. It just kind of go. Oh, okay, video, great idea. Let's shoot it. You know, great song, great idea. Let's you know, get it off to mix and mastering. I mean, it's kind of been it's been quick, but I think us still being young guys and having veteran experience in the industry has you know, benefited us. And just for, you know, being in it for so long and knowing the ins and outs, things that we need to do, and more especially the things that we failed at and all the other bands.
Right.
So we're able to kind of not take those missteps and go, okay, here's a little more straightforward path to what we would deem success, you know, as far as our writing and whatnot. And so it's just been like this crazy hyperdrive for us. But I mean, we're ready for the ride.
Yeah, for sure. It's going. It's kicking off, man. You guys have dropped 2 singles so far, with more coming soon. You've got Vulture and No One's Listening. No One Listening just put out the music video, which was pretty awesome. Before we get into that, though, I'm curious. Brent, you said you working with MIDI and stuff. You kind of developed the concepts of some songs that you brought them over to the band when you guys started. Going down to Brandon, taking what he did digitally, and then, you know, taking the concepts and applying them. Was it a full rework? Was you just coming off the top of the head? Were you taking elements of what Brent had did and brought over, developing the drum tracks and stuff? And like, how did you go about that process?
Sure. Yeah, that's actually a really good question, because so that changes depending on who's writing the drums and what the intention behind it is. So for the songs that have been released, and for about 2 or 3 other ones, Brent already had pretty much everything fleshed out.
Right.
But not being a drummer himself, he does, you know, it's kind of like he does not really wasn't 100% sure, like, okay, how would that work on an actual drummer's setup? So he would give me these parts, and I'm listening to these parts, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the sickest sounding beat I've ever heard in my life. I'm pretty sure it's impossible to play it, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Right?
I'm gonna figure it out. So I can tell you right now, there's the song that's coming out called The Deep. That was one of the most ridiculous drum parts I've ever heard in my life. It literally took me a month just to figure it out, what I was hearing. Like, and so I'd be talking to the guys, and I think at one point Brent said, well, hey man, like, you know, you feel free to change it, you know, feel free to make it. I said, no. I said, if I change this drum part, Brent, we're going to lose the gold. I said, I got to just figure it out. So there's footage of me working through this part in the studio, halfway into Hulk mode, you know, trying to get this fucking thing to work. But when you hear the track, you'll see what I mean. There's certain elements to the drumming that Brent's writing had already that I didn't want to mess with.
Yeah.
And then there's other songs where, you know, like, for example, like John will start on an idea as a guitar riff, and sometimes he'll come to me and say, hey man, this is pretty much what I want to do. Let's make it work. And then sometimes he'll go, hey man, I have no fucking idea what we need here.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Do your thing. And that's kind of how it's worked as a three-way unit. Is sometimes some guy will come to the table with something pretty much there, and it's just chipping it away. And sometimes it's like, hey, here's 25% of it. I need everybody to give some input because I'm confused. I'm stuck.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff. I've always thought about that, and I've played in a few bands, but that's not something we've ever talked about really as a band. Normally we come up with ideas and we just riff off each other. But diving into the aspects, like putting myself in your mindset of how to approach this, it's an interesting perspective that I haven't had before. So appreciate that.
Sure. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anytime.
So you put out Vultures first, the first single. Why Vultures? What was significant about Vultures, Brent?
So that was the one that we had recorded already with Andrew Wade.
Mhm.
And we did a little writing with him. He wrote, helped write the chorus of that, and it was already recorded. And we're just like, let's start with this one. It's already there. It's a good one to start off with. Has good high energy that kind of represents all aspects of the album, whether it's kind of the heavy guitar parts, the drums doing what it's doing, and then the vocals are represented between the screaming vocals and the normal vocals. So it's like it has kind of all aspects of what is to come in these next 12 months or so.
Yeah.
And then to take that a step further, No One's Listening kind of gets heavier. So that's that side of the spectrum. But yeah, we felt that Vulture was a good representation of the album.
That makes sense. It gives them a little bit of a taste of everything you guys are bringing to the table. That's
Gets them addicted too.
Yeah, it definitely does. And then following that up with the recent release of No One's Listening, which you guys put out a full video for and everything too. Who had the most creative, I guess, thought process? And was it, again, another team project, or did you guys, somebody bring up like, okay, this is an idea I have for a video, and then you guys ran with it as a group? Where'd the idea come from initially? It was John. I guess we'll go to John. Well, who did the idea first?
So the way we work in this group, we kind of all specialize in different things.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, that's why I call him the man, the myth, the legend, that Brent is really good at is cinematography. And cinematography and vision with that. He can really connect the two. You have a great idea, or he has a great idea. He knows how to take it and put it on the screen.
Okay.
So a lot of times he's the guy that comes at us and goes, "Hey, I have this really cool treatment. Here's what I'm thinking." Typically he'll show us like some storyboard clips, or like he'll kind of shoot a proposal to the band, like, this is what I'm thinking. What are your guys' ideas?
Right.
And then we collab from there. And it's kind of what will work in the time frame and the constraints. Being as we're busy guys, so we're trying to get everything on the right schedule. So all those kind of things dictates how we do it. But a lot of times it's more, Brent has like a cool idea for a shot. Like it won't even, sometimes it's not a
start with the shot, right?
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is going to be a really cool shot. I think we can pull it off this way, and then storyline gets built off of that. Like with the video itself, Brent was pulling a lot from the lyrics, and that's how we were starting for that idea. So he came at us with this awesome treatment, basically along the lines of the whole, at least what we had kind of discussed, that the song meant to us was more like people that instead of helping somebody out, they're more willing to whip out their cell phone and record the interaction, rather than be the peaceful, giving some love or some help in the situation.
Right.
So that was kind of, we got our good buddy Jeremy, who actually fronts Never Tell.
Okay.
And
I love that band.
Yeah, he's
so
good. They're amazing guys. We're good friends with them. And Jeremy, actually, he was the one that shot the Vulture video.
Nice, yeah.
And so then he came in, Brandon said, "Hey, bro, you think you can do some acting?" And he did a great job, like he always did. So he kind of played the villain in those scenes. But Brent typically is the mastermind, behind some of the crazy shots, the really in-depth stories. That's really his wheelhouse, So Brandon and I definitely, I can tell, I can speak for him here. He has no problem. We have no problem going, yo, dude, we're totally on board with pretty much whatever you want to do here, because he's got the vision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good. It's good cohesiveness right there. You guys trust each other.
Well, I'll say the message worked too. Best part of that the video was seeing that guy get punched in the nose. Just saying.
Yeah, dude. Such a good payoff, man.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yep. The message came across loud and clear, so it was awesome.
Awesome. Brandon, you talked about the Deep. You guys are planning on putting that out sometime soon, right? With maybe the next couple months or so.
Yeah.
What can you give us as a preview? Like just aesthetically, I guess, thematically.
Ooh. Okay. Well, here we go. Here, I'll just give it to you like this. So I'm, obviously being a musician, I'm very, which I'm assuming everybody on this call is probably in the same exact position. But when I hear a piece of music that I either haven't heard before or that really moves me, I literally will stand there and like zone out.
Yeah.
And so Brent sent, I think he just sent over like 4 or 5 of these demos, and I put my headphones in, I hit the Deep, and I'm sitting in this chair like this. And all of a sudden the music started, I stood up immediately, and I'm like, what in the fuck is this? What in the fuck am I listening to? So immediately what came to my mind, like the visual, is if you were, this sounds a little bit nerdy, but if you were like literally on like a ship in the middle of the ocean during like the end of the world, and you were like determined to get to the other side of that fucking island or whatever. That's the vibe. It's very intense. It's the drums are humongous. The vocals are humongous. It's just, it's kind of one of those very anthemic metal songs.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good workout song.
Oh fuck, man, I'm very excited for people to hear this song. It's one of my personal favorites.
Nice, I can't wait. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
You got something, AJ?
What about the music scene in Florida? Obviously, I work with Breathing Theory, but I don't really hear much about the local scene anymore. Is it still popping down there, or? Yeah,
I thought that was kind of interesting. Brent, we'll go to you for this one, I guess. You guys are all from Tampa, but we'll start with you on it. And it's funny because AJ referred me to, Breathing Theory. We know them for quite a while, and I just had them on.
Yeah, I've been working with Corey since 2009.
Yeah, recently. But it's funny that he's like, hey, I got another band here from that area. I was like, you just like, you're not even from there, AJ. Well, I'm glad you're finding everyone.
Metal capital of the world, baby.
Yeah, you guys all came from different bands. You guys were all playing different shows, but you came across each other. So what is that scene like? Is it pretty deep? No pun for the song, but is it pretty deep as far as for talent and other bands? A lot of people you guys get to jam with, people you get to tour with. What's it like?
Yeah,
as not only as a performer, but as a fan.
Yeah, as a fan, I mean, me and John went to a coronavirus show a while back after getting vaccinated, and we saw our buddies in Out of Darkness, and it was a full metal show with some pretty heavy music, and that was nice to get back into it. I've been kind of out of that scene for about since coronavirus hit.
Yeah,
just kind of put everything on the back burner.
Right.
So I can't speak for right now, but before that, it was a great scene. Very, very heavy metal. There's kind of, there's rappers. You'll see a lot of rappers. Some hip hop, which is, it's a nice, interesting thing in the mix. But mainly like Brandon said, it's metal. It's a big metal scene in Tampa, Florida, and everybody supports everybody. It's really cool. Something I see over some of the other genres, like Polar Summer is kind of like a pop type band, so I played a lot of those shows with the rap people.
Right.
Is metal people tend to still like they said, you run up to the front and you support everybody there, and it's a very tight knit, loyal community, which I absolutely love. And it's it's a good reason to be in this genre.
Yeah, for sure. Let me go into your vocals for a minute, because you do a mix of melodic singing plus you do some screams in there. What kind of warm ups do you do to get ready for your set? I know screams can shred your voice if you're not, ready to go.
Yeah, good stuff, but you look stupid while you're doing it, man. It's oh god. But it's totally worth it though. There's things. Melissa Cross, the Zen of Art of Singing or Screaming,
I
or
got her
whatever it is.
videos. Yeah.
Amazing. So like the tongue roll,
Mhm.
touching your tongue to your nose. That's the stupidest looking one, but the best one to stretch out all those nice muscles in there, or your tongue, the main muscle.
Yeah.
So I'll do that. There's this guy's name's Robert Lunty, who I found on Udemy.com, and he talks about his main thing is called like vocal twang.
Mhm.
And I haven't gotten all the way through the course, but it's basically like taking your tongue and touching the back top of your back molars, and it's kind of the vowel,
Okay.
and that's the basis for controlling your tongue and then leveraging it on the front of your mouth. So I'll do that, and he warms up with a or a or a n type thing, and you basically I'll pick an easy song like a Tom Petty song or something like Learning to Fly, and I'll go through that and I'll just hum the melody in that thing. And apparently it's like, according to him, and I agree, I can last a lot longer. We've been practicing for a 3 or 4 hour cover set, which I do it every day, and my vocals would get a little fatigued around like hour 3 until I started warming up to Robert Lunty's thing.
Okay.
And doing that thing instead of this thing where you go like you pinch the side of your lips and you go you do that shit. Also dumb. Dumb looking, but great,
Yeah.
And that twang thing actually gets me warmed up. So I'll do 2 or 3 of those songs, and then I'll go into like singing kind of a light song, like maybe Man Who Sold the World by Nirvana.
Right.
Sing a higher range song. So it's like 4 songs total where I'm hitting some higher notes. I'm just kind of getting that breakup or whatnot. And then I'll just go screaming like a bat out of hell on the way to work in my truck.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
a typical warm up.
Most people do that. Whether you're in a band or not, you scream on your way to work.
You look crazy, but you're like, I'm in a band, I promise.
It's even better when you're at work in the parking lot. You don't want to go inside. You're just screaming at your steering wheel.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's most metal.
Right.
Freaking suit and tie.
Yeah. John, so we know the Deep's coming soon. You guys are going to be releasing some of the others over time. Do you have an idea of when the album will be done and maybe hitting the market?
And is it going to be an album or an EP?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So basically, what we're going to end up doing between now and the next like 11, 12 months, we're going to continue to basically do about a song a month.
Okay.
And we're going to continue. We're basically just going to continue to release them as singles. I mean, we maybe at the end of this 11, 12 months, we'll throw it together and repackage it as an album. We've talked about doing that, but we figured as a new band that's breaking and trying to push new things, we want to be fresh content. Kind of consistently. It's kind of what we've done throughout our channels. Yeah. Our YouTube, or all our social media pages, etc. Is monthly content. Whether it be we put up royalty-free songs that we write together.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And that's for people to use in their own content if they want. We also do like a behind-the-scenes series that we're adding to, and now along with the content with the music videos. It's kind of, we were just trying to maybe push it. Everybody's now on this subscription model as far as their apps and everything else. And not that I'm saying we're reinventing the wheel or really breaking the wheel per se, but we just figured it was better for people's attention span where it was a continuous drip rather than a flood up front for us.
I was thinking as you were mentioning that, give me a second, AJ. I just had this thought come across because yeah, you're exactly right. You guys are something that I don't think any band I've ever talked to release copyright-free music, on YouTube. But the YouTube aspect, from what I've seen since I, was turned on to you guys from AJ, is that you guys are consistently releasing not just songs, but there's some stuff behind it, and you're building a fan base that's seeing. Because I mean, we're in a new world as far as music and stuff goes. We're getting out of full albums and like doing singles like you guys are doing now, releasing stuff
Absolutely.
on Spotify or SoundCloud. You know, just trying to get your music out. Where you're not having to do 12 songs and locked into a contract with a producer or a label, where 7 of those songs may be good, but they're not going to hit the top. They're not going to hit the charts. This case, you guys are taking your time. You're putting out each song. You're getting a direct response, and you're giving some cool behind the scenes stuff and things like that. What's your impression, I guess, with the way the music industry is shifting to like this model? And you guys are ahead of the curve.
Yeah, well, at least that's the plan, or that's what we hope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me personally, I think this band in general has its finger on the pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Just as far as just kind of being around it for so long. But the industry is definitely moving towards more content, pretty much as much content as you can put out. But of course, the principle being, good quality,
good content.
Yeah.
Quality at least.
Right. And I think that's the whole upheaval in the industry is it's a changing of the guard that we're having to let's just call it the modern era. And the industry is going to catch up. There's always going to be musicians and people trying to do it now. How they make money with it is going to continuously change. It's probably going to change again in another 2 to 5 years. So, let's be honest. But I think that, the industry is starting to get now maybe a foot forward and not be so far behind, whereas we know with all the streaming battles back in the day, everybody thought there's no way. Well, we find out later that if the labels just would have, succeeded then and just like said, you know what, let's make a deal with you guys. Yeah. Everybody would have gotten better payouts across the board.
Right.
That being said, I think it's moving towards a place where musicians and artists in general are able to now make a good living off their art if it's marketed correctly, and they're kind of moving with the trends of what they're seeing, among social media and their society.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna tag that onto Brandon as well. Brandon, outside of the music aspect, let's talk about like maybe branding and stuff. What are your impressions on being in this digital age where fans have more access to the stuff that they enjoy? Like they can pick up all this content from Bad Trauma from you guys on YouTube. They can follow your social media. Where instead you might catch news, you might see it in a newspaper, a magazine, see a show occasionally. But now in this world where bands have control over their branding and building their audience before they even get to a label, what's your impressions on that?
I mean, I think that it's definitely a double-edged sword, and it depends who you're talking to. I think a lot of that comes down to the work ethic of the band,
right?
Because if you look back in the 70s and even into the 80s, as long as you had 3 to 5 people who could stay without killing each other on a van for 6 to 8 months and put on a decent tour
that was a success.
And sell tickets, you were a successful band, because you had to have a manager, you had to have a tour manager, you had to have all these people that were doing this other stuff. And so I think what's happened specifically like in this kind of band is we kind of realize like we don't really need these guys quite yet. Like we've had a couple of labels approach us already with these these deals, and they're not bad deals, but we're looking at them and we have these band meetings after, and we're like, guys, we're already doing all that shit. Like we're already putting out consistent posts on social media. We're already doing all the back end stuff that these labels originally had all the control of.
Yeah.
And all the artists were responsible for was writing the tunes, playing them live, and looking the part, being the superhero or whatever.
Right. The rock star. Yeah.
The rock star. Yeah. And I think even that is kind of in a changing environment, because I think now you have all this influencer stuff going on in all the social media realms. I think a lot of people find it cool that they can, like the behind the scenes stuff where they can get to know us as human beings and not just these like untouchables.
Right.
I think there's actually something to be said for that. Specifically, if you can be a really cool person this way, and then you see them on the stage and they're like, holy shit, and they're fucking amazing on stage. That holy fuck, you know, they're real. I can talk to them and they're fucking rock stars. You know, I think that's kind of where a lot of this is going to go. I think more and more artists are going to understand that the only reason they're making any fucking money is because they have fans.
Right.
And you got to take care of your fans.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes it more of a personal experience for the fans. You know, it's
exactly
showing them behind the scenes. It's showing you guys as personalities, not just what they see on stage, but who you guys are behind the scenes and in real life. And it's relatable. You know, you find
that's what led me to the band.
Yeah.
Like after I seen the music, I went to the Facebook page just to check in, and just seeing how organic everything was. It took me back to like that 2006, 2007 era. I was like, these guys are doing it correctly. They're not having somebody on here acting like it's them, talking with the fans, trying to do the fake likes and sponsorships and all that shit. These guys get it.
Yeah, definitely. Making it, I can attest as a fan that the bands that I've connected with, that I hold, as my top bands that I love, outside of, maybe the top ones ever, some of those people that I'll never talk to, but I've had, relationships with some bands where, I like their music, but I like their personality so much more that it makes the music that much better. And we're able to see that now through social media, being interactive.
But there's also that never meet your heroes type of thing too.
There's also that some fans can straight up be psychos at some point. So it's a tough line to walk. That I think, as an industry, it's coming along. They're figuring it out. There's going to be a point where you have to maybe step back as the band, and you have to give those responsibility over to someone. But you should have already built a fan base off of that beforehand.
Absolutely.
At least a core audience.
I gotta say to John too, the one song a month idea is actually genius, because with Spotify and streaming platforms coming, more front and center, I think that's kind of ruining music in a sense to a lot of people, because there's too much oversaturation.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that is the perfect way to do it. You're given just enough time to get those singles to the fans, film the videos,
And you're getting real-time feedback. You're not
and
waiting.
Nothing feels rushed either.
Yeah.
Right. It was more a decision that was based. It's not, like I said, we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. We were just trying to capitalize on the things that are our strengths. And our strengths are we have a really good work ethic, and we can put things together well in a timely manner just because of our workflow together. So it kind of just happened out of the workflow. We said, well, why don't we just use that and have that become the necessity for the track farm, if you will.
Yeah. Makes sense.
There is a lot of artists over in Asia that actually do that. It's like every 3 months they put out a single and it has like a B-side, the instrumentals, maybe something to look into, guys.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's more content. Break your songs down.
Yeah.
Like do an instrumental version, like you said, like you're doing for the Deep, you're doing a lyrics video, but you also are not for the Deep, for No One's Listening. Yeah, you have a lyrics video coming, but you've also done a real video.
Brandon was saying, you might want to beat those content creators to their own game. Put those little playthroughs up on the YouTube before they can do it. Come on.
Right? Because there's people out there doing it. They're already working on the lyrics video.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the fan base and doing things for you, let's talk about the street teams. I know you guys are a small band getting started. You're looking to build up your fan base, and you're going to need soldiers out there for you working the streets, right? You need the street teams. So, anything specific you guys are looking for people that want to step up and join the street team?
So we're just looking for some people that are motivated, that love the band, believe in our vision, what we're trying to do. That's all we really ask for. I mean, of course, it's going to be awesome if you want to work really hard and pass off flyers or at least text our song links, our pages to people that might not know us. We when we started in the scene, it was more of the street teams were the ones that were at the shows passing out flyers, maybe handing out the new demos of some stuff that was going to come out.
Right.
We wanted to take that into the modern age and kind of have some people that were focused on what we're doing and really interested in seeing us grow, because we want people to come along the way with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We want it to be a big collaboration. A global collaboration would be killer, but it was more along the lines of the old school grassroots efforts of, you know, sending out like, we have like one sheet links and different things that we do, but basically sending those out and being in touch with us when, you know, when new songs are going to come out. So basically, you know, we would want those people on their pages to kind of be posting stuff that we have coming up, etc. Just kind of basically making the web get a little larger.
Yeah, it works because there's a lot of resources out there, you know, and outside of the way it used to be of, like you said, going to shows and handing out flyers for this other band. Hey, check, you know, you guys like these, check these guys out. You know, slinging demos out of the trunk, as it's always said. But now with social media, there's instant access to everything. So if you get the right people behind you, you get the word of mouth, you get the buzz, you know, they go viral, as they say. But
also, as a street team member, I just want to put it out there. There is an invite button on Facebook and an invite all. Annoy the hell out of everybody. Send them all invites. Come on.
Send them.
Exactly.
That's right.
Thank you, AJ.
Yeah, it's a good way, word of mouth, social media. It's a good way to kind of kick it off and start that networking process. And for everybody who's interested, or maybe you're just curious, since Bad Trauma is just pretty much starting out, you guys are getting to the ground floor. If you want to get out there and help them, you're going to be an impact of them growing, and you know, you're forever etched in the history of Bad Trauma alongside these awesome guys. So,
amen.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's go over social media, I guess. Brandon, what is the social media? Do you know all the social media for the band itself?
Yeah, it's just Bad Trauma Official is where you can get us on everything. Obviously, Facebook's just Bad Trauma. We have everything except for, we have Twitter, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. And this is a work in progress. We will eventually be getting a Twitch and all these other things for streaming and for all this other content. Brent and I have had multiple conversations. We got so much content coming out, guys. It's stupid. So just hang tight. You can find John is at, let's see, Johnny, you're Johnny Bad Trauma. Is that correct, John?
Yeah. So it's Johnny Chase Signal right now. And just to recap over the Bad Trauma pages, it was so Twitter's is Bad Trauma Music.
Right. Bad Trauma Music at Twitter. Okay.
Yep. And then so for YouTube, Instagram and Facebook, it's at Bad Trauma. We also are on TikTok at Bad Trauma as well. That's our TikTok is growing really well. That's more of the comedic side of us as well. And then of course, like all the other peripheral pages, Bad Trauma or Bad Trauma Music.
Yeah. Again, you guys are smart about approach to this right now. I was gonna say TikTok is the thing right now. Yeah, you know, Instagram. Absolutely. Maybe 2 years ago, when I was interviewing people, it was like, "What is your Twitter? Okay, what is your Instagram? Which one do you use more? Oh, I like Instagram more." Now it's like TikTok is the way to go, and especially for something like this where you're a performer. You know, you guys can break down clips of your music. You could do acoustic sets. You could do covers and all the behind-the-scenes comedy of you guys just goofing around. Again, that builds up that personal, you know, relationship as a fan to the band, and as well as streaming. You know, like you said, Twitch. I follow a lot of wrestling, and there are a lot of young wrestlers. Not really young; they've been doing this for 10, years or so, but they embraced, the streaming side of things. They get into playing video games, and the fans are smart enough to distinguish, between their character on screen and who they are. Even if they have to change, even if they have to change their name, it'd be a different persona. But they're smart about that because you're selling yourself. You yourself are a brand. The more you can put yourself out there and connect with your audience is just going to lead to more success. And those personal relationships are really what sells things. So it's smart. You guys are definitely ahead of the curve. I like it. So
actually,
at least we're trying to look that way.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. What's up, AJ?
I just have a quick question about the album. Diversity, how is that looking? Like, are we gonna get some clean only songs?
Some acoustics?
Yeah, like just clean vocals.
I'm trying to go over the demos. Sorry, go
Probably
ahead.
9191, which is a banger that John wrote.
What is it? 9191?
9191.
9191. What's the
Yeah.
fascination with numbers? 330077
Yeah.
9191.
You have to ask John about that one.
It's like I'll typically write a name for whatever the session I'm working in, and whatever aesthetically, sometimes numbers to me look great. So I'll, it just happens to be stupid, and then these guys, they get on there and they're like, "Wow, that looks awesome!" Like,
yeah,
that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. I had it all planned from the beginning.
Got away with numbers, man.
Yeah. So 9191, you said is a little more clean. Will we see anything that's just an acoustic set, something very intimate on there?
We have one that's in development. It's probably gonna be down the line a little bit,
Right.
but it's John has a pretty good stem for that, and we're gonna work through it, trying to find the inspiration. It's all atmospheric, and you have to be in the right headspace. For me, at least, for writing lyrics, I have to, like Brandon said, like he pictures like a what'd you say, a snowstorm or like a storm out at sea.
Yeah,
that in a different way, like it's like emotions for me. Like that kind of have to strike for me to get inspiration, start hearing like words in my head or whatnot. But already I can hear a couple of melodies on it, so we might have kind of a softer thing going. And he's got some really cool John has some really cool symphony orchestra type tracks.
Nice.
He has some scores online if you could track them down. And he has kind of a conductor's mindset. He sees the broad overview of things, and we're trying to introduce that in a lot of these other songs. And with that acoustic song, it'll probably have those elements in there.
I'm excited for that because I love, like Brandon was saying earlier, just like sometimes spacing out to the song and trying to pick it apart, the story, what you can't really hear your first listen through, all that.
Yeah. I do a lot of writing, and I do a lot of daydreaming. And music is.
I thought you were about to say day drinking.
Sometimes it depends. Was it Thursday? Only days that end in Y.
But yeah, I didn't want to break into social media, so Brent, you're up next.
Yeah. Let's. I know, John, we kind of went into yours. Let's go back to your social media specifically, because what Brent mentioned that you have some other stuff out there. Anything you want to promote outside of what Bad Trauma has?
Not recently. Most of the stuff that I've done, like professionally outside of Bad Trauma, a lot of times doesn't have my name attached to it. I have some scoring pieces that I did for a show called Haunted Tours that was on Amazon and Hulu.
Haunted Tours. Nice. It sounds familiar. I wonder if I maybe watched an episode or two.
You probably did. I wrote the intro song for the theme, and then basically the outro for when they're like revealing the what they caught on the EVPs and whatnot. But basically, since getting this stuff with Brent, all my
That's where your focus is right there.
Yeah. It's where my heart's at, and where really my passion is. I mean, I'm a heavy metal guy, through and through. Not that I don't listen to anything else, but I mean, that's one thing that'll keep getting me to snap my neck is metal.
Yeah, for sure. Brent, social media, anything personal you want to put out there? Your own accounts?
Is that Brandon or Brent?
Brent.
Yeah, just the Bad Trauma stuff. Okay. I'm not very active on social media. But for Bad Trauma, that's kind of the focus for me right now.
Yeah.
And just trying to get our content out there and keep it visible. We use a couple of programs to help schedule some of these things. So there'll be every week, every couple of days, there are posts on there. So that's social media. That's where my focus is right now. Is Bad Trauma.
Okay, definitely. What about you, Brandon? Is it strictly Bad Trauma, or do you have something like of your own that you're putting out there as well? Or just something you want people to come see what you have to say sometimes.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I Bad Trauma is definitely where most of my eggs are sitting in. I do run a podcast studio myself.
Okay.
Nice.
Called the Called Studio. But yeah, in terms of we're all kind of the same. The boys and I, we don't really put out our own personal stuff. Everything's about like what we're doing in the band, and it just makes things a lot more productive on our end, instead of okay, guys, here's my dinner and here's my dog. Right?
Right.
We'll get Bad Trauma. Will get a dog soon, and we'll take a picture of that dog.
There you go. There you go. I like
know?
it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I guess what would be the message from you guys? We'll go around the horn. We'll start with Brent, but as the singer for this, what is your message that you want to give to the fans that are just going to discover you guys, or people who supported you before Bad Trauma, as far as like from your other band, or people who have been here since day one, and hopefully people down the line?
Yeah, if you've been a ride or die, thank you. Really appreciate it. It always feels good to see people showing up at shows or whatnot, and in the comment section or whatnot. So thank you so much. That means the world. And it's the part of the whole reason why you do this is to, it's like I personally need validation. So that's perfect form of it, is having somebody smile or sing along to a song. So thank you so much. It makes me feel really good. I hope it does for you as well. For the new fans, welcome to the journey. We're going to work our asses off for you. Content wise, everything we do, we're going to try to make you smile or make your day a little bit better. Lyrically wise, from me, just know that I empathize with you. I empathize with your struggle. I go through the same stuff. And, for me personally, I want to provide any sort of solution to any kind of bad day you might have in the future. So yeah, that's I'm really excited about this new journey with Bad Trauma. So
awesome.
Thank you for being with us.
Nice. John, what do you think? What are your message to the fans?
I definitely echo all of Brent's sentiments. To all the ride or dies, we love you. We'll going to continue to love you and keep you, hopefully keep us in your good graces. To all the new fans, welcome aboard. And I hope that everybody that does, get attached to Bad Trauma gets something more out of it than just the music. I originally wanted to start do this because I wanted, that 13-year-old kid that I was looking out his window, playing to his little crate amp, think he was playing to thousands of people. I want to be that same band to that 13-year-old kid or whoever that's having that rough time, that's their release. I want to be that band for them.
Nice. Yeah, good way to put it. Brandon, message to the fans.
Yeah, so obviously, anybody who's been hanging on from this point or to this point, you're awesome, and you have no idea how important you are to musicians and any kind of artist. It's really the fans are the artist. I'm going to be honest about that. Without the fans, we're just a bunch of self-centered weirdos in our room making art. So, so anybody new that's coming on board, we really appreciate that you're enjoying what you're hearing and the content. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us, whether that's on a one-on-one basis or the Bad Trauma feed directly. We're not that kind of band that we don't want people to feel like they can't reach out and feel isolated from the band. That's not the approach we're trying to take here. We are trying to be as personable and as transparent as possible. So if we put out a piece of music and it was the best song you ever heard, tell us. If you thought it was the worst song you ever wrote, fucking tell us. Like, we want to know. We want to know your opinion, and we want to make y'all happy, and we want to make ourselves better. And we know that you're the filter. You guys are the filter.
Nice. Great messages all around. I think you guys, you got a bright future.
Thank you, man.
I can't wait to see, where you guys go and where you take it. And merch, you guys have merch out there. AJ, I know you were talking about that a little bit earlier. Can the fans buy some merch? Those comfortable hoodies.
Yeah, we're actually, so right now we're re-upping our fulfillment center. We're getting a couple kinks worked out.
Okay.
AJ is actually, he's the first to get the flagship hoodie.
Hell yeah.
The very first.
Yeah. So everybody, I think it's Dreamfall 72.
71.
Dreamfall 71. Yep.
Dreamfall 71. So go to that Instagram page. You'll see some super choice pics of the new hoodie. But we will at badtrauma.bigcartel.com. The site is up. We're taking orders. We're just starting to go through the fulfillment center, so just kind of work with us as we're shipping some new orders.
So,
and I will say these hoodies
Yeah, I was gonna
are
say,
comfy. Get them, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Badtrauma.bigcartel.com. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool. Awesome. I'm gonna go check it out and go get myself one.
Thank you, man.
Cool.
They're comfortable. I need one.
Cool.
Winter's coming around, so I need a new hoodie.
Just a warning, they are warm, so be careful.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time and hanging out and talking to me, introducing me to more of what you guys have to offer, and I look forward to seeing what comes down the line. AJ, any save rounds on your side?
I'm just here for the ride now.
Yeah, we're all aboard the crazy train.
I was over here with the metal
Yeah.
horns up as Brett was talking. I'm like, he's saying everything a band should be saying.
I agree. A lot of good things. I appreciate it. I gotta say that.
It's like I
appreciate
said,
it.
you could find a band who has great music, but
Mhm.
to find a band who has good chemistry and
Yep.
are actually decent people,
And
that's the hard
understand
part. Yeah.
understand the industry, understand the fans.
Yep.
It takes a lot, but the industry is evolving, and so you guys are kind of at the forefront right now, which is good. So hopefully we see great things. Again,
Yeah.
thank you guys for coming on, and thank you for watching, everyone who is tuning in. There goes John. He's like, I'm out. That's it. I said bye. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some stuff from Bad Trauma here. Go follow them, support them. Tune in for all their great stuff that they're going to be dropping. Go buy some merch, get some nice hoodies. And
Also, don't forget to request on the radio.
Yes, yeah. Do the
Yes,
work. Do the
please.
work. Help them get some exposure out there. Like, so if you want to join the street team, every person helps in every way. It's like, you can't have enough people out there spreading the word. So if you like what Bad Trauma's throwing out, then go tell them to play it on the radio stations. Share it with the world.
Mhm.
Help them get some more numbers out there as they're growing, and be part of that growth from the ground zero, from day one. So awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, subscribe. If you got some comments, drop them below. Bad Trauma, you guys going to be hanging out, checking for comments, respond to a few, hopefully, once this goes up. So awesome.
Awesome.
Yep. All right. Thanks again, guys. We will see you back here next time on the BTF podcast. Have a great day.
Later, guys.
Have a good one.
See you guys.